He said it loud enough for the entire to hear. People like you should stick to mopping floors. No hesitation. No shame. Just entitlement. The waiting room went silent. Not awkward. Heavy. The kind of silence that settles in when someone crosses a line and assumes nothing will happen. I adjusted my gloves slowly. Looked him in the eye. Sir, let's get you into a room. He smirked. He thought he understood power. He had no idea where he was. And before this night was over, he was going to learn something no boardroom ever taught him. My name is Olivia Carter, charge nurse, county hospital outside Dallas. 15 years of night shifts, 15 years of trauma alerts, 15 years of watching powerful men shrink under fluorescent lights. Hospitals don't care who you are, they care whether you're breathing. They brought him in just after midnight. Highway 75. Heavy rain. High speed. Black Escalade crushed from the front. Metal folded inward like paper. Paramedics said he never stopped talking at the scene, not asking if he would live. Demanding phone calls. Demanding updates. Demanding control. That told me more than his chart ever could. When we transferred him to the trauma bed, he winced but refused to show weakness. Where's the attending? Not am I okay? Not will I survive? Authority. That's what he wanted. I checked his blood pressure. Elevated. Unstable. The trauma surgeon is on the way. He stared at me like I was background noise. Do you even know who I am? I've heard that sentence 100 times. But his tone wasn't fear. It was habit. I own 3 commercial development firms in Texas. He said his name like it should unlock doors. It didn't. I didn't recognize him. He noticed. You should. I met his eyes calmly. Right now, I care about your vitals. Silence. For the first time, he wasn't in control. 6 hours later, he was in surgery. Internal bleeding confirmed. Rib fractures. Splenic damage. Complications building quietly. Outside, men in tailored suits spaced the hallway whispering into phones. Inside, under surgical lights, he was just anatomy and numbers. When the procedure ended, the surgeon removed his gloves and said one word, lucky. Sometimes lucky only means not dead yet. By morning, his team had filled the waiting area. Security guards at the door, assistants refreshing emails, legal advisors already discussing liability. One approached me with polished confidence. He needs a private suite. He has a private room and the best care available. He's receiving the same care as everyone. That answer didn't sit well. They were used to upgrades, priority access, special treatment. But medicine doesn't work that way. When he woke up, he didn't ask for water, didn't ask for his wife. He asked for his phone. Don't pause the contracts. I'll be back in a week. A week. He still believed productivity could override biology. Multiple fractures, internal trauma, infection risk. He wasn't going anywhere in a week. But control is addictive, and powerful people don't quit habits easily. That night, his oxygen levels began to drop. Subtle at first, a small dip, then another. Monitors don't panic, but nurses do quietly. I stepped closer. He grabbed my wrist. What's happening? There it was. Not authority. Fear. His blood pressure fell. Oxygen dropping fast. We moved quickly. No shouting. No drama. Just precision. The CEO of 3 companies was suddenly just a man fighting for air. Outside, his team demanded answers. Inside, only numbers mattered. They rushed him back to surgery. His advisors started mentioning lawsuits. But blood doesn't care about lawsuits. Blood doesn't recognize net worth. The second surgery was worse. More bleeding, higher risk, longer silence in the operating room. When it ended, he wasn't lucky anymore. He was fragile. When he returned to ICU, something had changed. No phone requests, no instructions, just staring at the ceiling like it owed him an explanation. That afternoon, a woman walked in. No entourage, no legal team, just tired eyes and trembling hands. His wife. She sat beside him quietly. You scared the kids. He didn't answer. I told you not to drive in that storm. I had meetings, he whispered. She looked at him carefully. You always have meetings. That sentence hit harder than the crash. Because this time, he couldn't outrun it. Over the next few days, something else happened. The world continued without him. Stocks fluctuated, deals shifted, emails slowed, assistants stopped visiting daily, then every other day, then not at all. Power feels permanent until it's not. Rehab began. Slow, painful, humbling. He needed help to sit up, help to stand, help to move a few steps. The man who controlled millions couldn't control his own body. Frustration replaced arrogance. Then exhaustion replaced frustration. That's when real reflection begins. One morning he stared at the window and said quietly, "I thought I controlled everything." Not angry, not defensive, just confused. I adjusted his fore. Life disagrees sometimes. He didn't argue. That was new. Insurance representatives came in with careful voices. Coverage tiers explained. Transfer requests denied. Policy limits reached. For the first time, he realized something uncomfortable. Money has layers, and there is always someone wealthier, always someone above you. But in a hospital bed, everyone is horizontal. That night, he didn't ask about contracts. He asked, "Am I going to walk normally again?" No dominance. Just a man asking a question he can't negotiate. "It will take time," I said. Time. The one thing he never had before. His wife started coming earlier, staying longer. They talked quietly. No business calls between them. No assistants interrupting. One afternoon, I heard him whisper, "I missed our son's birthday." She nodded slowly. "You miss a lot of things." The room didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt honest. And honesty is harder to escape than criticism. He started asking about the nurses, about our shifts, about how long we'd worked here. For the first time, he was listening instead of commanding. A few days later, he looked at me directly. "I owe you an apology." "For what?" "For what I said in the air." I remembered the silence, the smirk. "You were scared," I offered. He shook his head slowly. "No, I was arrogant." That was the real fracture. Not his ribs, not his femur, his certainty, his belief that power insulated him from consequence. Pain strips illusions faster than critics ever could. Rehab pushed him harder each day. Sweat, frustration, setbacks. But something else was growing too. Patience, gratitude, perspective. He thanked staff by name. He waited instead of demanding. Small shifts, big meaning. Before discharge, he asked me something unexpected. "Do you ever get used to this?" "To what?" "To seeing people at their worst." I thought about it. "You get used to the blood," I said. "You don't get used to the wake-up calls." 2 weeks later, he was transferred to a rehab facility. No security detail this time. No advisors pacing the hallway. Just his wife holding a small overnight bag. He thanked every nurse, every tech. No titles, no power plays, just gratitude. At the doorway, he paused and looked back at the unit. "You see people differently here," he said. "Yes," I replied. He nodded slowly. "So do I now." And for the first time since he arrived, I believed him. Hospitals are strange equalizers. Car crashes, heart attacks, sudden falls. We see them all, but sometimes the real emergency isn't physical. It's perspective, and perspective rarely changes without impact. Money builds towers, but it can't stop bleeding. Status opens doors, but not the one between life and death. Under fluorescent lights, everyone is equal. Some people learn that early, some learn it too late, and some learn it when the monitors start beeping faster than their assistants can dial lawyers. That's when titles fade. That's when ego goes quiet. That's when truth gets loud. If you ever wonder whether power protects you, spend one night in an ICU. You'll see billionaires and bus drivers lying in identical beds. Same gowns, same monitors, same fear. Because biology doesn't negotiate. Sometimes it takes a crash to wake up. Sometimes it takes losing control to understand what actually matters. And sometimes the most successful people discover that survival is the only deal that counts. In this hospital, we don't measure worth in dollars. We measure it in heartbeats. And every heartbeat sounds the same.